I want to be clear, we're not glorifying street life, man. We simply trying to take our pain and turn it into power. We're trying to take our tragedy and turn it into triumph. We're trying to wake some people up and convince them to save their own lives, man.
Peace, 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 peace to the planet Earth. And as Freddie said right before we hopped on here, it wouldn't be right without some technical difficulties. Shout out to technical difficulties.
Wouldn't be right, son.
Shout out to technical difficulties on a Thursday.
Big up the technical difficulties in the building.
Good thing about technical difficulties are like hurdles and obstacles and headaches in life. If you don't have those, then you'll never be able to get a better product or a better version.
That's right.
Of what you're dealing
And
with.
they're difficulties, not impossibilities. They're just difficult. That's it.
Because nothing's impossible, only improbable.
The very word impossible says I am possible.
This is a challenge. This has become a challenge now.
Hey, verbal challenge.
Man, I'm not gonna keep doing the introduction necessarily. I just want to say thank y'all as always for joining, tapping in with us, man. We are getting back to what I like to do. Not that I love everything that I do, but right now I want to get back into the serious stories, the stuff that's being spoke about, but not really being spoke about, because the world is crazy.
Bananas.
The world is bananas, is bananas.
People allow themselves to go bananas with it.
Man, from two guys that came from the inside and now on the outside, I can tell you, I don't know if he feels the same way. In some weird way, when guys call me from behind the wall, I gotta tell them you guys might be safer in there, man. And that's a crazy statement.
It is crazy.
Although
I guess because there's this degree that in the being you're secluded and kind of compartmentalized from regular society. So a lot of the stuff that's going on doesn't even touch you, especially not this. Cats, I'm not even a year out yet. And I can just remember talking to you and you telling me really how it was out there. That's when crime was bananas, food shortages, and we weren't getting that.
No, we're seeing food shortages now. I don't know how it is by you, but we're walking in grocery stores now. There's meat shortage. You looking at the shelves like, okay, it's a weird time, man. Nonetheless, man, anybody that's watching this, we got to keep going. We got to keep progressing. We got to keep having certain conversations. We got to keep being vigilant. And, we just got to keep walking in love, man. That's what I want to say before we get into this. Today's topics, they're hard ones. I'm not even going to say they are hard ones.
Peace.
So it's definitely, it's a subject that when you approach it, you got to be mature. When you approach it, you got to use a certain type of language. But nonetheless, I think that's why sometimes people don't want to talk about certain things that go on in our community. A lot of times people don't want to have certain conversations about what's probably already been detected or seen. These two stories we're going into today, matter of fact, we're just going to go into them. We'll go into the first one, man.
The mother of an Aldine ISD 6-year-old is calling for accountability from the school district after video captured her son being sexually assaulted by another boy on the school bus.
She's concerned it's been happening for months now and that other students may be victims as well. KPRC2's Bryce Newberry is live in the Aldine area tonight with more. Bryce.
Keith and Daniela, the details in Aldine ISD police affidavits are so graphic and disturbing we cannot share them on television. But the mother of that 6-year-old boy says the perpetrator is a 12-year-old boy. And tonight we've confirmed school police and Child Protective Services are investigating.
My child's innocence has been taken away from him.
This mother is in disbelief after getting a call from her 6-year-old son's school earlier this week.
He's been tainted prematurely.
He came home without his backpack Monday, so she contacted the transportation department to request they review bus surveillance video. She says they saw much worse.
Well, there's video that a sexual assault occurred on transportation.
Aldine ISD police interviewed her son this week when he shared disturbing details of the assaults now outlined in these sworn affidavits, alleging that the other boy lured him to the back of the bus during his 2-hour ride home.
He's been coached and groomed that it was a game, and the loser, the way that the loser is determined is if you tell.
Aldine ISD says it's interviewing students and staff while reviewing video footage. An ongoing investigation unimaginable for this mother who's worried it's happened more than once after noticing her son's behavior change 4 months ago.
It's sickening, it's sad, and I am going to advocate for my child, and I want everybody that failed him to be held accountable.
And tonight, after multiple inquiries from KPRC2, the school district sent out a letter to families letting them know of an incident on a district bus, adding that this route now has a bus monitor. But tonight, the district has refused to answer our questions about whether that driver or the perpetrator have been disciplined. Reporting live tonight in Northwest Harris County, I'm Bryce Newberry, KPRC2 News.
Bryce, thank you. Well,
I didn't know how to lead into that story because there's a million thoughts attached to it. But the reason I played that one first is last week we had two fathers up here. My man Nate, my man Ambo. They both talked about parental paranoia. They talked about certain things, and then this clip came up. I don't even know how I seen this.
I'd heard about the joint. I'd heard about it yesterday. I believe it was the first time that I heard about it.
What are your thoughts?
Son, man, I mean, you know, deplorable, detestable, disgusting, disturbing. We could go on, man. And as a parent, you know, we'll touch on the parent thing. I can't even imagine, you know, how that mother feels. I don't know what's up with the father, but you know, there would be so much going on emotionally, psychologically, across the whole board, man. But yo, for the young man, yo, what type of culture are we breeding, man? And I don't know the dynamics and the logistics of actually how everything went down, but there had to be some people around. Somebody.
There was.
You know, what type of culture we breeding, man? Where, you know, even this is, you know, ain't nobody say nothing. And you got a young man's forget his innocence, man. He was exposed. Who knows what he was exposed to?
Yeah, this was, so from what my little bit of research is a smaller school district. They got children of different ages on a school bus, but this has been going on for quite some time. And like they said in the story, the only reason they found out the child returned home, he didn't have his backpack. The mother was concerned, asked them to check the video footage. When they checked the video footage, they seen the abuse, the assault. There were kids around. There were other kids on the bus that didn't say anything. That's a scary thought right there. I seen in a news story, they talked about how the older child, the 12-year-old, had groomed the 6-year-old. When I think about things like that, because I think about situations in different layers. I think about more than likely if he was distributing, you know, abuse and assault, he might have been going through that in his own situation.
Yeah. Because there's probably somewhere where, you know, the interesting choice of words was coached, trained. You know, there's probably somewhere where he underwent that same thing, maybe, you know, and is now repeating. Who knows? You know, but it definitely seemed to be deliberate, structured. Like you said, you know, this is not new. I would hate to say that even if it was the first time with this young man, it was probably not the perpetrator's first time.
No. And I think
perpetuating something like that.
Yeah, I think another thing, me and my wife were speaking, we were talking about it last night. It looks like a lot, just everything that's going on with this story is a result of things being unchecked. and conversations not being had. Somebody had to have seen something.
Somebody definitely saw something.
Yeah. I don't understand that part. I'm waiting for more to come out on the story. I want to understand why. I just don't get that part. And I don't know if I guess my fear in that situation is, was he the only victim on the bus?
Because the verbiage was that there was a game. And this act was part of the game. And I think that they said the loser of the game was determined by the person who told.
Yeah.
So it does definitely seem as if this was something that was going on. People were familiar with, at least this cat was. And again, man, it's just, man, I'm thinking back to when I was a kid. Yeah, you had people maybe, who had some clout, but man, there's some things, man, somebody gonna say something or somebody gonna move on something, man. Like, you're not gonna do that. Go ahead.
I ain't mean to cut you, but I'm just thinking about a situation right here where I'm not a parent yet, but I'm just thinking about as a parent, you're supposed to be able to put your kid on the school bus. You're supposed to be able to send your kid to school. You're supposed to be able to send or drop your kid off at daycare. There's supposed to be certain things in place where I don't want to say you shouldn't have to think about it once you do it. But what's going on now, that there's no more of that. There's no more safety in the system.
There's no safety net now.
I don't feel, and it's crazy. I'm sweating. I'm not even a parent yet, but I don't feel like, it's almost like you got to homeschool your kid, keep them at the house. But you can't shelter your child. They have to experience. They got to live. They got to learn. So there is faith. You sending your prayer and faith. You know what I'm saying? But I just don't understand. Like, it's different now. I seen something on Instagram, a post where it said, back in the day, our parents used to let us out. We'll go outside and we'll be out there for 10 hours a day on our bikes with no phone, no nothing. They didn't have a way to get in touch with us. They told us be home before the lights come on. You wouldn't do that nowadays. You can't.
No, we're in different times, man. We're in more precarious times, man. I distinctly remember, going out by myself through dirt trails, and I wouldn't dare now.
Nah,
you're not going. Nah, we'll take you there. We're in times that are becoming increasingly more lawless. You read about in medieval times and how they used to be highwaymen, and the roads were dangerous and you couldn't travel. And it's almost like we're seemingly more civilized, but becoming drastically more savage. I heard a quote once. It said that our technology is outdistancing our morality. And I just don't know, but I do know if you're a parent, a grandparent, a great grandparent, have to be extremely diligent when it comes to our children. They've termed this term, tiger mom and helicopter mom, and they try to make it disparaging. But you do need to hover around your kids. You do need to know who your kids are with, what they're doing, where they're at, because it's sometimes it's here 1 second, all of a sudden gone the next, or something bananas is happening. And you made a good point, because a lot of things just went unchecked.
Yeah,
unexamined.
It's the grooming, the grooming aspect. It's not even just in that situation. It's society as a whole. Like, what's negative, it's respected. What's negative, what's wrong, it's adhered to. That's what people are attracted to and take hold to on social media, etc. So if you caught up in that motion, you're less likely to say something when you see something negative in person. That's how I see it, man. You're desensitized to it. You look at it nowadays these young, not just the youngest, but they wake up looking to go viral.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a different mentality, man. And like I said, there were multiple children on that school bus. That's the weird part.
Yeah. You know, I think to touch on the social media thing, the desire to be liked also, man, is so prevalent now. I think that plays into a person not wanting to go against the grain, and maybe internally they could see something that's wrong, something that's not right, something to be corrected, but because you want to be liked, you won't say anything. You won't go against the grain.
Yeah.
You won't break from the norm. And as a result, some type of injustices are just allowed to continue because you're trying to be, you know, Mr. or Mrs. Popular.
We got to get past that, man. I told Young and I was up at the job site where he's like, man, if something goes down, I'm not calling the police. I said, listen, man. I said, if somebody breaks into your grandmother's spot, what you wanted? You don't want her to call the police. You wanted to go hand in hand with the robbers. Like at some point, man, we just got to wake up. Certain things, listen. Certain things is no excuse, and I feel I don't know the situation. You know, before we go into this next story, but I just feel if you see something, say something. With children, it gets a little bit more complicated, but for the adults, if you see something, say something.
Say something. Yeah, my heart goes out to that young man and to his family. And the truth of it is to both of the young men, because both are traumatized.
Yeah, no question. That's an ugly situation.
And it's, you know, respective families.
I just wanted to touch on that. Like I said, parental paranoia was the topic last week. We're really parenting, but we went into the parental paranoia aspect where my man Ambo was talking about putting cameras up inside his spot because of where they live. It's just he's worried, he's scared. You know, it's weird. It's just different times, man. I want to hop into this next story. And I want to say this. A lot of times the hood dudes, the ones that we've been to prison, jail, all that, we don't want to say stuff, right? But a lot of stuff happens to us when we're behind those walls. Now, I'm not necessarily saying this happened to me or anybody I know, but this is an example of something that happens, I'm sure. It's trauma, it's abuse, and it's being exposed in Milwaukee right now as we speak. Let's pull it up.
Touch my testicles. They like ease down and they put their hands right between my butt. Just pulled my drawers down and dug in my rectum.
The alleged victims keep coming forward. 8 Milwaukee police officers are under internal investigation, accused of performing illegal strip searches, including cavity searches on the streets. Were they wearing any gloves?
No, I didn't see not one. There was no gloves.
Kevin Freeman Jr. claims back in December he and some friends were violated during a traffic stop.
When they searched me, they like ease down and they put their hands right between my butt. And I try to reach back and when I try to reach back and try to stop them, they just got to slam me. He pulled out my pants, touched my testicles.
The numbers in the story, the research I last did was over 74 men came forward, all of them being black, and this is happening in Milwaukee right now.
You know, I'd feel very comfortable in saying, even though Milwaukee is front and center right now, this happened all over the United States.
No question.
I clearly remember, man, I'm like maybe 14, 13, Long Island, big up, Wheatley Heights, Wyandanch, big up. I'm on straight path. The cops pull up, throw everybody up on the wall, and yo, man, they had dudes out there stripped down basically, and cats were so mortified, man, and so embarrassed, man, and humiliated. But this is back in the 70s. And we can go back, man, where there's a continual, a strategic and structured, man, agenda to emasculate, man, to humiliate, to traumatize. And I'm going to stop talking in a second, but we talked about the word culture, you know. They developed the culture with that force, man, and that particular team, man. They're talking about 8 people, man. You telling me not one of them dudes could say, yo, we are dead wrong, yo. We reaching up in people's John Brown hind parts and calling it what?
It's a different time, man. I keep saying it. I remember getting off the bus at Sussex 2. And when you get off, you went straight into the not a bullpen, but like this separate cell, and they have you stripped, and it's like 4 officers, and the 5th one's got a camcorder with a light on you, and they telling you, you know what I'm saying, bend and squat, you know what I'm saying, squat and cough, all that stuff, man. Listen, man, regardless of how it goes down in a situation like that, you're gonna be traumatized, man.
Yeah, man.
You've never been through just that, you're gonna be traumatized. And let me say this, another reason I wanted to bring this up, because they've been talking about trauma and different things that we face. Strip search procedures in penitentiary. When you go on the visits, when you're locked up, it's already a stressful situation. You're going to see your loved ones from behind the wall. You're in prison blues. Before you get to see your loved ones, before they change the policy, they would literally strip search you going into the prison or into the visiting room. You're being traumatized on the way to go see your loved one. Now, after they just had you cough, squat, all that, you're a grown person in front of a bunch of other adults. Now you got to go in there and sit in front of your people and act like that didn't happen 30 seconds later or 30 seconds previous. I'm also thinking about, and I don't want to jump all over it. No, we spoke about a little bit the comments the officers make. You know, they at one time where we were at, they were making them about other people's family members, but and make no doubt about it, we didn't heard, man, them COs get crazy. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And you just, man, really make a good point. That is trauma, man. You know, and what you just related, that was a smooth encounter.
Yeah.
That's just if you get a CO he's just gonna strip you, you're gonna send you about your business, but you can get a jerk who really puts you in a different state of mind, where after you walk through the doors, after dealing with a dude who is deliberately attempting to humiliate you, man. But as we see now, you know, this is on the streets also, man.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say, you know, it doesn't happen in other communities. I don't know, but I do know that historically, consistently and continually, we're the ones that have been exposed to this type of stuff, man. Yeah. And because of our culture, and you touched on it earlier, we won't say anything about it.
Nope.
You know, we have an issue sometimes maybe with victim shaming. And that's why brothers don't want to come forward, because you come forward with something and somehow the attention gets turned on you instead of on the atrocity. So it's good to see brothers coming forward, man. You know, and hopefully, man, I don't know, man.
No, they got to keep coming forward. Everybody, we're in a time now, nobody should be helpless in a situation. I'm not saying this applies to them. I'm not saying they feel this way. But to anybody that's going through a situation, if you feel like you're helpless and you feel like you can't get help in any, you know, whatever it is, or bring attention, man, all you got to do is pick this up right here, man. I promise you, you can post, you can look up there's so many ways you can shed light on a situation and circumstance. If you're in a situation where you're going through abuse or whatever it is, and maybe you're not brave enough to do it by yourself, hey, find support groups, find help. We spoke about 2-on-1. I did an interview recently on the show. We talked about all these different aspects and lanes, but if something's going on, we have to say something. We got to get out of that mindset of not saying anything, because what it does is it festers and it increases, and it starts to manifest to the point where you got 74 and counting Black men coming forward saying that they've been molested during search procedures. It's ridiculous. Things were going unchecked. People weren't saying something, and that's what's going on a lot of times in the community. We got to get past that, man. We got to, if we really want things to change, or is it maybe we're just more focused on what's going on underneath our roof? I don't know.
I don't even know about that, because sometimes now it seems like we're allowing stuff under our roof.
That, like the last story, to me is something that was going on underneath somebody's roof that didn't get checked, and it manifested in a totally different circumstance and situation, and now countless other people or what impacted trauma. Because I'm not saying, but come on, man, things aren't getting checked. We're not having conversations. We don't want to have the tough conversations, man. Nobody likes accountability. I'm not gonna say nobody, but the majority.
A lot of us don't. We don't want to be held accountable. We want to be able to do whatever we want to do when we want to do it, and not have anybody say anything about it. We want to blur the lines of, I'm going to call it right and wrong. There's right and there's wrong. You know, and I think anybody would say that what happened in both of these situations is dead wrong. The caption underneath was, "This is not okay." And I think it may be, I see the word challenge thrown around, you know, that we challenge ourselves to really start examining what's in our life and what's not okay. You know, even when it's people who are not okay, who are continually bringing thoughts and ideas and actions and energy that are not okay. And get that stuff out your life, yo. But especially the stuff that's up here. Examine your thoughts. Those are really what's going to manifest in your actions and words.
What's the quote you always say, or you put me on to? I don't know if you had got it from somewhere, about the between your ears, the mind.
I don't know.
The shortest distance.
I don't know. I don't remember.
Hold on, I'm gonna help you, Rick. It's got the shortest distance, but it's got the greatest of battles, or
it's at a distance of 6 inches or something like that. And it's between your ears, whatever the quote was. But it's about the only real battle we have is that battle is in the realm of our thoughts. This is what people fight for. When we see things going on in society, they're not fighting to control anything else but the way that we think. Everything is structured to control how you think. You control how a person thinks, you can predict how they're going to act. You predict how you're going to act, you can begin to put things in place to plan and prepare for those actions. So everything for us, Joyce Myers wrote a book, The Battlefields of Mind. The battlefields of mind, man. You can do all the push-ups and burpees and all of that.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I learned the importance of the mind in 2022, man. Hey, you think a lot of times when we out here, I think a lot of times we put so much focus and emphasis on the physical or material stuff, all that we don't do the work on our on that inside, on the mental. You know what I'm saying? We're not doing the checks and balances. We just allowing anything to come into our eyes, our ears, any type of music. I mean, hey, look, I fall victim to it. I'm guilty of it. I'm not gonna say I fall victim. I'm guilty of it at times. I'm riding down. I listen to certain, but I'm getting the more I'm moving a certain way, the quieter the music is in the car.
Yeah.
And now I'm transitioning over to audio books. It's like I'm turning it. Not that I'm turning into a grumpy old man, but even when I'm riding, you know, I love my wife's super energetic. She wants the music up. Sometimes I'll be like, "Hey, babe, can I turn it down?" It's just I don't want certain stuff. I'm starting to see the value in what you feed your mental, what you allow yourself to listen to, read. I'm seeing the value in the conversations that you have, the people you keep around you. And it's making it. It's putting me in a situation where my decision making process is even different. It's evolving, you know. But on the other end, I think about, you know, my homeboy that's always calling me, and every time I look up, he's in the jail. And every time I look up, he never left the block. And every time I look up, you know, he's still into that foolishness. And instead of him evolving, it's kind of like he's falling back. He's regressing, man. But it's important, man. It's definitely important.
Well, I think the unfortunate thing, it might not be unfortunate, about transformation and evolution is that people get left behind. there's some people who are very cool where they're at, and some are not cool, but aren't willing to take the necessary action to change their direction and change their trajectory. I don't know, man. I just know for me, I have to continually challenge my thoughts, man. I really do, man. I say and I believe that I'm serious about evolving, about allowing myself to be transformed into the best version of myself. But if so, I've got to really, take serious inventory on a regular basis, yo.
I'm in that place now where I thought I was taking a serious look at myself in the past. I am now. I'm taking there's some things going on, but it's good changes. You know what I'm saying? But in order to get to those changes, I had to really sit down and look at myself in the mirror and do a real actual assessment without excuses and justification. And, I had to learn to check myself. I'm learning to check myself because we're in a society right now where if you don't check yourself, somebody's going to check you.
You're going to get checked.
Yeah, I don't want to get checked. I don't want to be in a situation where I might have to check someone. I want to be vigilant. You know what I'm saying? I want to be the guy that knows how to maneuver around these situations if he sees them. And if he sees them, it's at the grocery store because it's definitely not the bar or the lounge.
Or the club, yeah, or the shisha pub, whatever the guy. No, you can see me there.
No, life is about percentages, though. Especially in I'm telling people, man, true, you can't control everything. It's something good or bad can happen walking down the street. But you can maneuver in a place where if you want to be successful, you can move this over this lane.
There's a higher probability over here.
It's gonna give you 90% success rate over here. 10% might get you, but you're gonna be able to see it easier though. Yeah. That's the thing. If you're gonna be able to dissect it, man. Life is about percentages, bro. I'm evolving. I'm choosing to evolve. I'm gonna keep looking in the mirror.
Hey, and that's the thing, man. They say change is inevitable, but growth is a choice. And you have to make a choice, a determined decision to say, I want to grow. I want to evolve.
Yeah.
Who I was is cool, but who I am and who I could be, that's what I'm striving for.
Yeah. And I think when you really see I think there's like two levels to I don't know, I don't want to say waking up, but two levels to saying I want to grow, right? I think sometimes people think they're there and there might be some growth, there might be some progress, but there's still some moments. This is where I was at, where I was pushing and then I stall out a little bit. But then there was a point where I figured it out. And now that I've tasted victory or certain, successes, I've been blessed a certain way. And to y'all, it might be small, but to me, it's great. You know what I'm saying? But now that I know it, I want more of it. And it's like now that I'm like, okay, this is what it's like. Whether it's peace of mind, whether it's learning how to communicate with somebody that's agitated, these are the things I'm talking about. Don't get it confused, y'all. I ain't talking about cars and stuff. But once I started seeing, okay, this works. If I keep going down this path, now it's like I'm addicted. I got to keep going. You know what I'm saying? I got to keep going. I never thought I'd stop drinking when I came home, turned into a party animal and drinking. I stopped drinking. My mother-in-law stopped drinking first, and then I just quit. I didn't tell anybody.
Good for you.
Best decision I made, man. I enjoy going out and ordering the water or the ginger ale, and I'm gonna tell you what, to my hustlers, entrepreneurs, and businessmen, I'm gonna give away one of my secrets right now. It's all good. Be the sober guy in the room full of business people, because I'm gonna tell you, and I don't care. I say it because I say it to them all. I say, man, y'all keep getting drunk from me and telling you all your secrets. I know all your game plan. I'm sitting here with my water and Sprite. So that's and I told him that, so I put it out here too. But
a drunk tongue is a loose tongue.
Hey, man, you can see it when I stepped out of it. I gotta do a Freddie Williams. When I stepped into but for real, when I stepped into that lane, now I'm seeing it from the outside in. I'm like, okay,
Yes.
I used to start to get sloppy too. That's not how I want to move. I don't like, but to each his own. Yeah, to each his own, but
That's
no.
not your thing. You made a choice for you.
Yeah, that's not my thing. I don't chastise. It is what it is. But now that I know what it's like to be without it, and now I'm addicted to being the sober guy in the room. Like, oh yeah, y'all want to drink? No, I don't drink. I love it. I love it, man. But you don't know unless you go. Got to do that assessment, honest assessment.
Really do, man. We really, really do. Like I'm gonna take our spot here, man. You could probably turn around and look at maybe a home 2 months down the line, and there's some clutter there that you don't even know how the heck it got there. Mm-hmm. And this is how we are with our lives and with our minds. As we travel through life, we can pick up clutter. And so a lot of times it's other people's junk and garbage that somehow begins to take residence in our thoughts. We got to get rid of that, man. And you only do it by doing the same thing you do with your house. Periodically going through and cleaning up.
Got to.
You clean up, man. You don't want to live in a dirty house in the same way you don't want to have a dirty thought life, because you end up having just a dirty life, period, then.
We do it on our phone. We clean our storage out.
All of that.
We make sure we got memory on our phone, but we don't do it to our minds. We don't get
rid of web browsing history, instantly.
You get up. But with our minds, though, we don't take the time to get rid of some of this junk. Whether it's people, he just talked about the divide. When you start to evolve, when you say you're no longer good with certain things, there might be a moment where you got to really say, "Hey, I got to say goodbye. I gotta keep going, and it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt. But guess what? You got to keep going. You got to evolve."
You have to, if that's what you are serious about doing.
Yeah, definitely.
And the good thing, man, about the separation from people is that sometimes if it ever has to be said, at that point it's just a formality, because cats already know we're in two different places right now, and growing apart can be inevitable, but growing together is a choice. And if a person hasn't made a decision to grow with you, man, believe me, that's a person you don't want on your team.
No,
you just don't.
Yeah,
I don't care if it's Uncle Pookie's favorite nephew. What do they say? Y'all came from the sandbox. Doesn't matter, man. Once you really are serious about transforming your life, you'll find one of the most important ingredients is going to be your circle.
Yeah, no question. Oh man, hey, I fell down. My circle picked me up.
Circle, man.
Dusted me off. And they reminded me it's okay. They said I'm still a king. Still keep going. You still you still love. So you gotta have the right circle, man. You gotta have the right. And my circle's small. My circle got small, but my circle's strong though. Telling you, man.
I would say that the smaller circles are the stronger circles.
Yeah.
They say you're the average of the 5 people who you're closest with. If we thought about that a little more often, we might do a lot better with choosing our associations.
No question. Hey, I want to pivot real quick. I wasn't going to ask you, but we got about 5 minutes, and I got to ask you this. You a little bit older than me. We got our own experiences, but I gotta ask you, man, the balloon thing. The Chinese balloon that was going over the country. Did you see that?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go all the way off the deep end, but I'm just saying, I'm just thinking about like when we grew up, like in the 80s, 90s. I was born in 83, but I remember the Cold War, like them talking about it. I'm thinking about that. I'm not even saying, but I remember what I'm saying is there was more, it seemed like there was more respect with what's going on. Everything seems so fragile right now. And we just I come home in 2020, pandemic, through 2021, then monkeypox and recessions, inflations, all this stuff. And now we got balloons floating across the country. They shoot it down. People are mad. What are your thoughts? Like, do you feel safe? Do you feel like everything is delicate? How do you feel after coming home from doing time in prison to a place? I mean, I feel I'm glad I'm here, but nonetheless, it's like you walking into a movie or something, like a suspense action thriller, and you don't know how it's gonna go.
Yeah. I think what we are seeing and what we have been seeing is the emergence of other nationalities on the world scene. You talked about the Cold War. You know, for the longest period of time, there were only two superpowers on the planet Earth: Soviet Union and the United States. And if you had to look at the two, the United States was by far the most seemingly powerful nation on earth, did what they wanted to do when they wanted to do it. But now what you're seeing is the playing field's getting leveled. If it's not already level, matter of fact, it's more than level. The United States now, we're behind a number of other nations. So whatever factor there was 60 years ago has been removed. You have a China who commands the largest military on the planet Earth, who has bought up how much real estate in the United States, who own how many countries, basically saying, do whatever you're going to do. This is what we going to do. And that's unheard of, man. It is just, it's brazen, it's disrespectful, it's arrogant, but it's also threatening. And you asked about feeling safe. This is a and we've been saying this through every situation. We're in precarious times, man. We're in precarious times, man. You know, Russia is showing blatant disregard for the world community and has been. China, you know, Iran, you name, we could just keep going on and on, man, with nations that are like what?
Everything is not stable. Wherever you look, it doesn't, whether it's here, going to Walmart, knowing, unfortunately, like the tragedy that just occurred in Chesapeake, Virginia. You know, the countless other tragedies that occur. It's bad enough, like I'm saying, you can't go to Walmart, you can't go to the grocery store. I mean, you can. I'm not going to sit here and say every time I go to the grocery store, I'm thinking about. But you turn on the news every 2 weeks. There's a mass shooting over here. There's something going on. And then for me, you know, anxiety guy or whatever you want to call it, it's bad. I live in Atlanta, and then I turn on the news and they're talking about look in the sky. And I'm, you know, for me, again, maybe I'm the extra guy or whatever. I don't know if we about to go to war. I don't know if they say, you know what, because I would have never thought that type of thing would be tolerated, that it would be okay. And I don't know if this part was true. What I heard was the only reason we really found out about it was because civilians spotted it on the ground.
Right.
And they still allowed it to pass over. And for me, I'm a former vet, you know, United States Air Force. And I just don't see how the United States, I just don't get it. I don't know
how did it get that far inland is what you're saying?
Where it passed over?
Yeah.
Specifically, I was stationed in Minot, North Dakota. In North Dakota, South Dakota, Wyoming, Nebraska, it's nothing but missile silos. Which everybody knows this.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It's not that they don't know this, but now they're just trying to get a look at it in a different way that's never been done before. It's just it's weird, bro.
From my perspective,
it's weird.
I don't even think it was about getting a look at it from a different way. Because you can actually get a better look with the satellites nowadays. I think it was more about an action that said whatever. I mean, it's a balloon,
and then they got mad.
Satellites are far more precise, but I think that it was more of a gesture to say, whatever. We're gonna do what we want to do when we want to do it.
The one, and I agree, because they said after it got shot down, once it passed over our entire country, it got shot down in the water. They were mad about it, and they said they're gonna do what they want to do. But the balloon, I thought the same thing. I didn't understand the balloon aspect. I did a little bit of research. What the balloon did was what they're assuming is it a satellite allows them to see things from up top down.
Right.
This balloon had a technology on it where it allowed it to see things from the ground up.
Ah.
Right.
So you get a different perspective of it.
You see a lot of things that you wouldn't see just from up top.
Okay.
And it's just crazy that.
Man, you know what? It still is a thumb in the face, because let's take those times, Cold War times. One thing you never heard about was something as brave, because this would have been taken as an open provocation to some type of military action. And I think China, they clearly understand that. It's a violation of what they call airspace.
Yeah, definitely.
But with spy technology.
Yeah, they said they've been sending them out. One got shot down over Russia. One's
but over our soil, I don't really ever recall. And
I seen something that they said this isn't the first time, but I don't, I don't know about that one.
Now I know about, they've had stuff off the coast and violate waters, the international waters or whatever, but to actually penetrate into the United States, cross over the mainland.
They said they got a ship out there that's just been circling Hawaii forever. Not forever, but just out there, just chilling, just.
It's just a lot going on, man. It reminds me, like you got beef with cats. Nothing really jumped off, but they just keep riding by your house. You in the store, you see them riding by. And then here goes overreaction to one of the ride-bys. And here we go. And I want to we about to wrap this, man. I enjoyed this live. I enjoyed the simple conversation about dialogue
about some real things. But I want to tell you a funny story about the balloon thing before we wrap this up. I'm watching it live with my wife, right? We're watching it. I got to use the restroom. I get up. I go to use the restroom. I'm already trying to understand, as a former United States Air Force active duty military member, why there's a balloon from another country just floating by. I'm trying to figure out what's in it. They don't know what's in it. They ain't did nothing to it. I don't know what's going on. And as I'm in the restroom, my wife screams out, "There's another one." My brain instantly, I said, "Here we go." I said, "This is it." I said, "This is it." I said, "I got to call my mother." I said, "I got to tell my mother." I said, "We got to go get her." And of course, there was not another one. It was, I don't know what she saw that prompted her to believe. But had there been two, man, we would have already knew what it was. I feel like at that point,
if you didn't know what it was,
if another one pops up tomorrow, I'm gonna try to move the family somewhere. I don't know.
With a bunch of dudes in it just taking pictures.
They got the hot air basket on the bottom of it this time, hanging out. Like
they just start sending regular citizens with cameras.
That was the and then they said they were mad. They were more than mad. The nerve of you to shoot down our balloon that was over your territory. Do it again. Or unless they basically trying to say they feel like they own everything. I don't know, man. Final thoughts before I keep going in on that, because I don't know. Final thoughts.
Hey, I don't know, man. The whole slant tonight was kind of about addressing stuff,
Things unchecked.
And how cultures can form unhealthy cultures, toxic cultures, detrimental cultures when stuff is allowed to go unchecked. And let's just check ourselves. You know, the saying is, when you check yourself, no one else has to check you. Let's really check ourselves and allow ourselves also to be checked.
Yeah.
You know, one thing about when you got good people around you, man, they're not going to say anything to tear you down, man. But sometimes it's our ego that want to allow us to take criticism, man, that could really, man, take us to the next level. There's this cat, Norman Vincent Peale. He said most people would rather be ruined by praise than saved by criticism. So, yo, if we all say we really serious about growth and development, man, let's get around some good people, man, who can give us some good input, man. Start thinking good thoughts, man, so we can start living good lives, man, and do good things.
I'm about to end it off that. You said people would rather be ruined by praise
than saved by criticism.
That's it. Peace.
Peace. Love.